So I'll just get straight into this. This is how I would fix Marvel Rivals Ranked and the integrity of it while keeping the system fair, but actually enforcing skill unlike the system we have now. Now, let's go straight into it. Win rate based adjustments. First, if someone has a negative win rate, they should be penalized, but in a controlled way. If your win rate is below 40%, you gain 5 less points per win and lose 5 more points per loss. If you have a 45 to a 47% win rate, that drops to 4 less points per win and 4 more points lost per loss. Now, if you have a 48 to a 49% win rate, that drops to 3 less points per win and 3 more lost points per loss. So, it scales slightly, but the point stays the same. If you're consistently losing, you should not be climbing, especially in higher ranks. For example, if the game calculates a plus 20 gain in a win, but you have a 40% win rate, you would only get plus 15 with a negative win rate. If you lose 20, you would instead lose 25. Players with a positive win rate are not affected at all. It's like nothing ever happened. This creates a real gap between actually skilled players and boosted players. No more reaching Grandmaster or higher just because you played 500 plus games in a season with a 45% win rate. With this system, it becomes impossible, or at least hopefully impossible, to consistently gain more than you lose and rank up with a negative win rate. To keep things fair at the start of a season, this system does not activate immediately. The first 20 competitive games you play during a season, they are unaffected by this new system. From game 21 and onward though, the system does kick in. This prevents good and honest players from getting punished early if they have a bad streak. And it gives time for you to equalize your own skill and have that positive win rate, which hopefully you don't have that anymore by those 20 games. That's a good buffer period. Now, stacking penalty, aka anti-boosting penalty. Now, on top of what I just explained, there's actually a second system I'm going to be implementing. If you queue with others, whether that's 2 people or a full 6 stack, you gain 2 less points per win and you lose 2 more points per loss. This is specifically to slow down boosting. It doesn't heavily punish normal players, but it does make boosting significantly less efficient. I think a solo queue player on average getting to Celestial is better than 2 players always duo queuing getting to Celestial. The solo queue player has to rely on themselves most of the time and doesn't have people they recognize or familiarity on their team, unlike the stacking individuals, whether that be 2, 3, 4, 5, or 6. With both of these changes, if you only solo queue and have a positive win rate, you will see absolutely 0 changes in your ranked gameplay. It would be like nothing ever happened. Under this new system, if you are a good player, it's like the system is never there. But if you are a bad player and a boosted player, you will definitely feel the repercussions. Now, what is the combined impact when both systems apply to each other? Well, they stack. So, if a negative win rate player who has a 40% win rate and is stacking at the same time, before if they would normally gain 20 points, under this new system, they instead gain 13 points. Minus 5 from win rate, minus 2 from stacking. If they normally would lose 20 points, they would instead lose 27. Minus 5 from win rate, minus 2 from stacking. At that point, climbing becomes extremely difficult unless you actually improve. Now, the core problem. To keep the integrity of ranked, you need to weed out bad players from ranks they don't belong in. These systems will do that over time, yes, but right now, the problem is already massive. It's not like there's a few bad players here and there. It's a whole forest of them. And if you can't weed out all of them, because there's a forest of boosted players, you need to burn the whole forest down and start to replant. So you need a stronger starting point, which is a harder rank reset than what we currently have. This is where the reset comes in. Not a normal reset, an actual one-time correction that will be implemented right as soon as the other things do. Top 500 players, Eternity, and Celestial players reset to Diamond 3. They then play a new set of placement matches which can reach up to Celestial 2 during placements. These placements use a new evaluation system. Stats are not the main factor anymore. What matters is whether whether you are actually the reason your team won or lost. New factors include objective time, pressure and attention drawn, and how much of a percent you are in spawn during the match compared to the rest of your team, alongside what's already been there that it currently has, like performance-based, which I think they added less than a season ago. For example, if a dive and a support are constantly engaging with each other, and that matchup is deciding fights, then both of those players rank up faster if they win, and rank down slower if they lose. Yes, some players will still get lucky with teammates, but the earlier systems, like win rate plus stacking penalties, will weed them out over time. Now, just to continue on the ranking distribution, Grandmasters and Diamonds reset to Gold 3, and can reach up to Diamond 1 during placements. Everyone else below, like Platinum, Gold, Silver, and Bronze, reset to Bronze, and can reach up as high as Platinum 1 during placements. All players go through the new placement system. Some people may have concerns with it being too punishing. Well, yes, the system is punishing, it's supposed to be, but it's not unfair, because the game already has performance-based adjustments. For example, if you perform really well, let's say you gain 25 points. With a negative win rate of 40%, you gain 20 instead. That's only about a 1 game difference in climbing from 0 to 100. From before, you gain 25 points. Okay, that's 4 games. Okay, now you're ranked up. If you have a 40% win rate, it takes you 1 extra game. That doesn't seem too unfair when it's put like that, does it? If you perform badly and lose 25 though, with a native win rate of 40%, you lose 30 instead. So yes, it's harsher, but not unreasonable. And at the end of the day, Celestial shouldn't feel like free candy being handed out in a van outside, because the negative win rate players are as fake as that free candy. And if it's handed out freely, then the rank loses its meaning entirely. You cannot have these boosted players, these horrible players getting to these high ranks, and then having a giant ego about it, and then calling other people that have positive win rates, that have never had a negative win rate, boosted. Trust me, I know that experience. I know someone who called another person boosted and bad, and you know, they're better than them. Well, that same person had several seasons which they had a negative win rate, and that always stacks. You know what the person they were going against always solo queues. Now, Smurfing alt account enforcement. This is another thing I'm going to change to help integrity of competitive. Now for Smurfing, if someone is using an alt account to either stomp lower ranks or boost other players, because they can't go up ranks on their own, then there should be escalating punishments. First offense, account locked out of competitive for that alt account, and hardware identity recorded. Second offense, competitive lock again on the alt account, probably the second alt account now, and main account restricted from competitive for 1 week. That's why in the first offense, it recorded your hardware identity. Now for the third offense, if you do not get it by now, if you didn't understand why your first alt account got competitive locked, meaning you can still play other games, like game modes, but it's not competitive. If you didn't get that, you didn't get the message, you know, that says that, you went on your second alt account, did the exact same thing, got locked out, got the same exact message of the reasoning why behind all of that. Well, in the third offense, well, guess what? Your main account is now going to be banned from competitive for 2 weeks. If you do it again, fourth offense, it goes up to 1 month. And just keep adding 1 month onto that after every new offense. This does not affect honest players. It only targets repeat offenders. And this change will not affect anyone who did this beforehand. Only new cases after it's implemented, giving people breathing room and time to fix and course correct their actions and stop ruining the integrity of Marvel Rivals. Now, here's the queue time solution for high-ranked players. One concern is high-ranked players have long queue times, and that's why they smurf. To address that, I propose to add a new permanent alternative game mode, more restrictive than quick play, but less restrictive than competitive. It uses competitive maps and bans, keeps a level of seriousness without full ranked pressure. I feel like that's a very good balance right there. It is less restrictive, so you'll have less queue times, but you can still ban the characters you don't want to go against. This gives top players something meaningful to play while maintaining queue health, if they don't just want to play quick play or any other game mode in the game. Now, I'll end the video on this. While yes, this system is strict, that's the point. It doesn't rely on hiding adjustments or letting people grind their way up by playing 500 plus games with a negative win rate getting to the Celestial somehow. It forces consistency, rewards actual impact in skill and removes players who do not belong over time. If ranked is supposed to mean something, then it actually has to reflect skill, and this system pushes it in that direction. Now I know that was a lot right there. I know this probably won't be in the game, but if I was in charge, I would do that. Let me know, guys, what you think of all these changes. Let me know in the comments down below. Like, subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next YouTube video. See ya.